What if I told you that the number one reason most people fail their fat loss journey isn't because they don't work hard enough, but because they work too hard, too fast, and in the completely wrong way? What if I told you that you could burn more fat by doing less than you think without killing yourself in the gym, without starving, and without feeling like fitness has taken over your entire life? And what if I told you that the best way to burn fat isn't some secret workout or brutal routine, but something far simpler, more sustainable, and more enjoyable than what you've been told? Today, I'm going to break down a method that will help you burn fat efficiently, consistently, and without overdoing it. And by the time you finish this video, you're going to understand exactly why pushing harder is not the answer, why balance matters more than intensity, and how to finally break out of the exhausting cycle of starting strong and burning out. So stay with me, because the truth might surprise you. Actually, it might even feel like a relief. Now, let's be real. Most people think fat loss means suffering. They think it means grinding in the gym 6 days a week, sweating buckets, barely being able to walk the next day, cutting all their favorite foods, and living in a constant state of hunger and guilt. And the sad part is, that's exactly why so many people quit or never start in the first place. Somewhere along the way, fitness got marketed as extreme. Only the hardcore survive. No pain, no gain. Work till you drop. If you're not dying, you're not trying. And honestly, that entire mindset is flawed. Your body isn't a machine that performs better the more you abuse it. It's a biological system that responds best to consistency, moderation, and habits that match your lifestyle. Burning fat isn't about breaking your body, it's about aligning your body with what it naturally wants to do. Use energy efficiently, move regularly, stay fueled, and maintain balance. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. When it comes to burning fat without overdoing it, we've got to talk about the real driver of fat loss, your daily energy balance. And no, that doesn't mean starvation or strict dieting. Your body burns calories through 4 main pathways: resting metabolism, the thermic effect of food, structured exercise, and non-exercise activity, better known as NEAT. And here's the part no one talks about. The majority of calories you burn have nothing to do with the gym. Most of your fat loss comes from what you do outside your workouts. You're walking, you're moving around, standing instead of sitting, doing chores, taking the stairs, living your life. That means you can burn far more fat by adding simple movement throughout your day than by destroying yourself with an intense workout that leaves you exhausted and inactive for the next 24 hours. If you've ever done a brutal leg day and then sat like a statue the rest of the day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why step number 1 of burning fat without overdoing it is learning how to increase movement, not punishment. One of the simplest, most effective ways to burn fat is walking. I know it sounds too easy, almost too boring, almost like it shouldn't count. But walking is hands down one of the most underrated fat-burning tools we have. It lowers stress, boosts recovery, protects your joints, helps digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and it burns calories steadily over time without driving hunger through the roof. Unlike high-intensity workouts, walking actually calms your nervous system instead of overstimulating it. Why does that matter for fat loss? Because a stressed body holds on to fat. When your cortisol is constantly elevated from extreme exercise and undereating, fat loss slows down. When you do moderate activities like walking, your body feels safe enough to let go of stored fat. That's why the people who walk more at any weight or fitness level burn more fat over time than people who rely only on short bursts of tough workouts. But let's talk about exercise too, because yes, workouts do matter. The problem is that most people jump straight into training way above their current capacity. They go from doing nothing to trying HIIT 5 times a week. They go from zero resistance training to lifting heavy every day, or they push so hard so quickly that their body doesn't have time to adapt. The best fat-burning exercise plan is not the hardest one. It's the one you can repeat for months without needing motivation miracles. And that's usually a combination of light to moderate movement daily, plus strength training 2 to 4 times a week, depending on your schedule. Strength training is incredibly important for fat loss because muscle is metabolically active. It burns calories even when you're at rest. And no, that doesn't mean you need to become a bodybuilder or lift insane weights. You just need enough resistance to keep your muscles working and growing. The more lean mass you have, the easier fat loss becomes.
But let's zoom in on something even more important: recovery. People underestimate recovery so much. They treat rest days like laziness instead of what they truly are: fat loss days. When you train, your muscles break down. When you rest, your muscles rebuild. And it's during that rebuilding process that your metabolism improves, your performance increases, your hormones balance, and your body starts burning more fat. If you work out too hard without resting, your body becomes inflamed, tired, stressed, and resistant to fat loss. So yes, you can burn fat by doing less, if the less means strategic rest, smart training, and sustainable movement. Now let's talk about a big one: diet. And I'm not going to tell you to cut everything you enjoy. In fact, extreme dieting is one of the fastest ways to slow down fat loss. When you over-restrict, your body responds by decreasing your metabolism and increasing your hunger signals. And guess what? That leads to binging, guilt, quitting, and repeating the cycle. The best diet for fat loss is the one that keeps you satisfied, energized, and balanced. You need enough protein to maintain muscle, enough carbs to keep your workout strong, and enough healthy fats to support hormones. You need a flexible approach that allows room for real life, social events, cravings, weekends, celebrations. If you can't do your diet for the next 5 years, then it's not the right diet for fat loss. Because fat loss isn't an 8-week sprint, it's a lifestyle shift. Here's something else nobody explains: hunger is not your enemy. Overeating isn't caused by a lack of discipline. It's caused by poor planning, poor habits, and trying to rely on willpower alone. When you eat balanced meals, especially ones higher in protein and fiber, your blood sugar stays steady. That means fewer cravings, fewer energy crashes, and far less mindless snacking. When you sleep enough, your hunger hormones stay in balance. When you hydrate properly, your appetite stays controlled. When you manage your stress, emotional eating decreases. Fat loss becomes easier when your lifestyle supports your goals. That's why burning fat without overdoing it is all about small, daily, realistic habits that compound over time. And let me tell you something that might take a huge weight off your shoulders. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to hit your calories perfectly every day. You don't need to hit your step goal perfectly every day. You don't need to have the best workout every time. Progress happens because of consistency, not perfection. If you're consistent 70 to 80% of the time, you will lose fat. The problem is that most people are all or nothing. They're either perfect or they're off the wagon. The real progress happens in the middle, the boring middle, the manageable middle, the sustainable middle. That's where fat loss thrives. Another key to burning fat without overdoing it is understanding how your body adapts. The human body is incredibly smart. If you undereat too long, it slows your metabolism. If you overtrain too long, it increases stress hormones. If you push too hard, your body pushes back. But when you give your body moderate, consistent effort, it responds by becoming more efficient, more energetic, and more willing to burn fat. That's why slow and steady actually works. It's not motivational fluff, it's physiology. Let's talk about sleep, because if you're not sleeping enough, fat loss becomes an uphill battle. Poor sleep makes you crave more food, especially high-sugar, high-fat foods. It lowers your willpower, slows recovery, and messes with your hormones. Just improving your sleep schedule can accelerate fat loss faster than any new workout program. Aim for better sleep before you aim for harder workouts. That alone will make everything easier. Now let's talk about something that might blow your mind. You don't need to sweat to burn fat. Sweat is just your body cooling itself down. It's not fat leaving your body. You burn fat through energy use, not through sweating. You could sit in a sauna for an hour, lose water weight, and regain it by drinking a glass of water. Sweat is not the measurement of fat loss. Consistent movement is.
One of the most powerful fat loss habits you can build is gentle morning movement. Not a hardcore workout, not a crazy routine, just 10 to 20 minutes of walking or light stretching in the morning. It wakes up your metabolism, reduces stress, improves circulation, and sets a positive tone for the rest of your day. You'd be shocked how much fat you can burn simply by adding a small morning routine like this. Another mistake people make is doing long, intense cardio sessions, thinking more cardio equals more fat loss. But the truth is, too much cardio can backfire. It increases hunger, increases stress, and can even cause muscle loss if overdone. Cardio is great, but in moderation. Your best fat-burning combination is light daily movement plus a few moderate cardio sessions, not endless hours of running or cycling. Let's talk about mindset, because fat loss is not just physical, it's mental. Your beliefs about fat loss shape your behavior. If you think it must be miserable, it becomes miserable. If you think it must be extreme, it becomes extreme. But if you shift your mindset into thinking of fat loss as a gradual, simple journey built on small habits, it becomes enjoyable. You don't need to hate the process to get results. You don't need to feel punished. You don't need to feel restricted. Fat loss can be empowering. It can be energizing. It can even be fun. Now let's address the elephant in the room: motivation. Motivation is unpredictable. It comes and goes. You can't rely on it. What you can rely on is routine, systems, habits, environment. Make things easy. Put your walking shoes by the door. Prep your meals ahead. Keep healthier snacks visible. Make junk food less accessible. Create a lifestyle that pushes you towards success automatically. That's how you burn fat without trying to force yourself into discipline every day. One more thing that's crucial: don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Your metabolism is unique. Your lifestyle is unique. Your stress levels, your genetics, your schedule, all unique. What works for someone else might not be what works for you. That's why the best way to burn fat will always be the method that feels manageable for you, not what looks impressive online. As you continue your fat loss journey, remember that the most effective approach is the one you can sustain. Build a routine around movement, not punishment, around nourishment, not deprivation, around recovery, not burnout. You don't need extreme measures. You need balanced ones. You don't need to push harder. You need to push smarter. Fat loss isn't won by the person who works the hardest. It's won by the person who doesn't quit. And the only way not to quit is to create a lifestyle that doesn't exhaust you. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, tired, or frustrated with fad diets and exhausting workout programs, take a breath. You don't need all that. Start with walking. Add light daily movement. Strength train a couple times a week. Eat balanced meals. Sleep well. Manage your stress. Stay consistent. Trust the process, and most importantly, be patient with yourself. Fat loss is not overnight, but if you stop overdoing it and start doing it right, it will come.